Hi, my name's Yasmin and I'm the DM.
Hi, my name is Samantha. I play Elora Greyvale and she is a sorceress from the province of Nephalia.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I play Ogvar Shawfort, the goat-herding, mushroom-seeking ranger from Kessig.
Hi, I'm Rick, and I play Otto, a spring sage from Hanweir sworn to the land, wandering the plain and setting wrongs to right with his ursine companion, Bojo.
Welcome back, everyone, and a Happy New Year to you all. We hope you had an amazing Christmas and that Santa brought you all of the things on your wish list. So, here we are, 2025, 5 years of podcasting fun behind us and a new one ahead that we are all excited to embark on. Hopefully, before long you will all catch up with The Quest for North Star, our 6-part winter special that was streamed over Christmas, and hopefully you will enjoy it. No spoilers today, but maybe, just maybe, there will be more short adventures during the progress of this coming year. Anyway, that bit done, it's time to get back into the secrets of the Silver City and pick up where we last left off in episode 161 before the break. So, here we go, folks. Upon their return to the tower, Paul showcased his sandwich making skills as he got the team's taste buds tingling with a spot of lunch. As the team talked to Jenrick, Elora enlisted his help further, asking the aging arcanist to assess the currently accursed situation with the ranger's wrist. The upshot of which suggested a cure of a clerical nature, which would have to wait a while, leaving dearest Ogvar to the sounds of suffering souls in his subconscious for the foreseeable. Episode 162, 40 Fathom Fortress.
The Wandering Tavern is 15 layers of corruption, gambling, exotic restaurants, hotels, expansive workstations and buzzing accommodations. Amongst these are 23 unique locations that range from lavish establishments down to the city's seedy underbelly. I've got detailed battle maps of the entire floating metropolis. As the sun sets, shadowy forms seep from dark corners to materialise throughout the Wandering Tavern. Luckily, I was able to collect scathing testimonies from over 30 NPC patrons and staff, and even the lingering spirits of the deceased. The Wandering Tavern, available now at hatdebuilder.com.
It would take some time and some research, but potentially yes. It might be that you end up having to consult someone of a more clerical nature for something of this kind. But until a bit further research can be done, then it's hard to say.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah, we'll have to deal with these in order of priority, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so at least we got a rough idea of what's going on.
For now, Ogvar, it seems that it's a nice piece of jewellery because it's quite pretty. It's a lovely colour.
It's the colour of misery.
Well, that depends on how you look at it.
I think he's looking at it from a miserable point of view, honestly.
Well, you could always try humming.
Speaking of, he could do with taking a shower today as well. Sorry, Jenrick, as Elora was saying, we found these other 2 orbs. Would you feel comfortable us bringing them in here for you to have a look? Would you feel comfortable with that, or would you rather they remained on the ship?
No, of course, bring them in. We'll take a look at them and see what they are. By the way, where did you get these chicken zinger burgers from? They're very delicious.
Big bird. I think Otto's just going to wander off to go get those orbs while you continue to chat with them, because it's better we bring them in than not. I don't want any accidents to happen.
Yeah, you head down to the ship. You find wherever Alora has stowed the pot with the balls in, and you can bring them into the tower. By the time you bring them back upstairs, the idle chit-chat has been going on, and there are no more chicken sandwiches left on the table. What are you doing, Otto?
I shall fairly unceremoniously proffer up the pot that contains the balls, rattle them around a little bit. Those ones.
Okay, let's take a look at the things. And he pops the top off, and pop! Off goes the top. And he peers into the pot, rolls them around a bit, looking at them, and looks to Eric. Eric, a basket, if you will. Yes, of course. Eric goes off and he returns with a fairly shallow basket made of woven beads, puts it in Jenrick's lap, and Jenrick tips them out into the basket. You see Jenrick do a bit of an assessment on them visually, rolls them round a bit, looks at them, sniffs them, doesn't go as far as licking them, holds them up to the light so the light shines through them, and he eventually begins to cast a spell over them. One which you would perhaps recognise, Alora, as an identification spell. So he begins to cast, and after a couple of minutes, he returns to you. He finishes his examination. Yes, these are quite interesting objects. I believe they'd be best utilised when mounted on a weapon of some kind. Your good old sword or an axe or a butter knife. But this one, and he points to the yellow one, which is still crackling, I believe that should you incorporate it with a weapon, you will be able to imbue your attack with a certain amount of electrical damage. It's strong, but it's not as powerful as it would have been. I don't believe it seems to have been depleted in some way. And essentially, what you can do with this orb is you can mount it into a weapon. That will be a process that will take a day or so. And once per day, you can deal 1d8 points of electrical damage when you strike with a weapon. A melee weapon, that is. This other one, this white one here, and at this point he's picking up and handling them quite happily. Obviously he's detected there's nothing wrong with these, and he's picking them up and just kind of rolling it about. This one here, it is similar but force-based. And again, I believe this will be the most useful if you mount it into a weapon of some kind. And this one, once per day, when making a slashing attack, the orb, once mounted, can be activated to push all enemies within a 10-foot radius back 10 foot. And there is a fortitude save on that with a DC of 16. But essentially you've got two different orbs which have got different properties which both need to be mounted into a weapon for them to function. Melee weapon, that is.
Oh.
And from his description and the way he's presented this to you, you can very much tell that this creature, this bird which you fought, it was very much producing the storm itself, the winds, the force behind the storm, the electricity. And from Jenrick's description, and obviously your knowledge of having fought this creature, you can tell that with both of these cores in its chest, this was probably the source of its magical power. this is how it generated the storm and how it attacked using lightning. It's very easy to tell that.
Okay.
Okay.
Ogvar will listen to all that and then I get all of that. So I wasn't aware. Are all storms formed that way, or is it just a phenomenon? Is every storm got a bird inside it?
I wouldn't say so. I'd say this is more of an outlier event. From your description of the creature, it sounds like it was once a rock. Bloody big bird, but it seems to have mutated in some way, or something has happened to cause it to evolve in some aspect. Most storms are, your traditional friction and atmospherics, and he devolves into very, very technical scientific description of how a storm is made. Pressure and the barometer and barometric pressure, and he properly dives into it. But essentially, he says to you that most storms are naturally forming. But this is more of an outlier. I can't believe something like this came out of a bird of all things. And it came over the water, you say? It came over from the sea?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Quickly.
Well, the seas around the plain, around this plain, are vastly unexplored. We simply don't, as a race, as people, we don't have the resources available to explore the depths of the ocean. So it's very possible there may be an island or something out there where there could be colonies of these creatures. It's a very interesting concept. But no,
Or maybe it wasn't from this plane at all.
I'd say that's.
Let's face it.
I'd say
what we're looking at out there is not from this plane.
I'd say that's more unlikely. It's not normal for things to pass through the Shadowfell. And from what your description was of this creature, it was a magical beast. It wasn't particularly evil. It would have had a hard time surviving in such a place. And there's no guarantee, from what we know of the Shadowfell, there's no guarantee how long you spend within that plane. So for a creature like that to survive uncorrupted, it would have probably... It's most unlikely. I'd say this is something which is probably formed on this plane, on Innistrad. I mean, rocks are native. They're at the central mountain range in Nephalia, usually. But it's not uncommon for them to be elsewhere. They are a bird. They fly.
Well, that's something, at least. That's not something else that's obvious that's just arrived from somewhere else. Still coming to terms with that. Can't believe that the ship came through the Shadowfell. But then I don't know how much Eric's actually told you, but this is obviously a subject to fill you in on once you have the time to concentrate on something else.
Okay, dearie. I mean, Eric has told me nothing on this ship. I only know that you've got a flying ship now, which is quite something.
Yes, it did not come from this plane.
Yes, I gathered that.
Anyway, I digress. Thank you for your information. Thank you for your help. We found a lot of things on that ship, and there may be something that we can gift to you for your help. But we'll deal with that when we finally get to go through all the things that we've found, which is on a very long list of things that we need to do. So I'll get out of everybody's hair now. I'll go down to the workshop, and if I start just doing a brief mock-up of these schematics for the new layout of the ship, if that's okay with everybody. And she'll just gracefully get up. She'll take Orland with her, seeing he's still just strapped across the front. And she'll go downstairs. Sort of doing a bit of a runner through the biome again. to try and avoid the assassin's vine.
Yeah, okay.
And she's going to make her way down to the workshop.
Excellent. Okay. So it is now early afternoon. Jenrick will finish eating up his chicken zinger burger, and he will go back down to the library to continue with his research. What are you all doing for the afternoon? Elora, you're going down to the workshop to start drafting up the plans for the ship.
Yep.
So, Otto, what are you doing?
He's got a few spells ready. I think he's just going to go spend a little time with Bojo until such time as those plans are drawn up and he can use those wood-shaped spells to good effect.
Okay, excellent. Onkvar, what are you doing?
I think Ogvar will. What will he do?
Actually, I do have
Ogvar will.
one suggestion. We identified what those orbs are. I would say, and my vote would be that it makes sense to give them to Ogvar. I don't know how the two of you feel. Maybe you could spend some time attaching those somehow.
They have to go into a melee weapon. They can't go into a
Melee.
bow, I take it.
Melee
Yeah.
weapon.
Because I don't use weapons. Otto doesn't need them. Elora frequently doesn't have a weapon in hand, even in the middle of a fight.
Yeah.
So unless we were to give one to Esther as well, which wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah, that would be a good idea, yeah.
But the obvious thought there would be for the force orb, or whatever you're going to call it, clear you some space if you needed to ever get away. 1d8 once a day isn't an awful lot, but pushing folks away when you need to reposition yourself, that's massive.
Okay, yeah. So we're thinking electrical damage to Esther and the force damage for Ogvar then.
That would get my vote.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds perfectly logical to me.
Okay, so is that what you want to do for some of the afternoon?
Is that something Ogvar can do?
Yeah, I mean, it's very much Jenrick's suggestion. Jenrick will also kind of walk you through the suggestion of how to do that. It's not going to be something where you need to forge it in, you just need to kind of attach it and spend some time fixing and attuning it to the weapon. So you can spend some time attuning it to your weapon, fixing it, making sure that it's in sturdy into one of your axes. You can do that.
Yeah.
Obviously that isn't going to take up the entire afternoon. Is there anything else you would like to do? I'd like to do.
I think, obviously he would ask Esther if she wants anything doing to any of her weapons with the other orb.
Yeah.
And
yeah, so Esther will, if you're giving it to Esther, Esther will take it for certain. Which one? So you're giving the electricity one to Esther, yeah?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So you give the yellow orb to Esther, and she, oh, thank you, dear. That's quite a generous gift. Yes, I'll go and I'll use it well. Yes, and Esther will go off and begin to attune it to her own weapon herself. This blood red longsword that she's got, or blood red sword.
Cool.
And what would you like to do what would Ogvar like to do for the rest of the afternoon? Because obviously you'll have time to do other bits as well.
Yeah, he's going to follow up on Otto's suggestion from the previous day to go and see Bojo.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so you all decide to split up to do your own things. Esther will remain upstairs in the kitchen. She's attuning a weapon, and she'll also perhaps do some cooking and some baking. So the bits and bobs which she wants to do personally. Elora, you're going to head down to the workshop and start drawing up schematics. And after you've finished tuning your weapon, or this orb to your weapon, it is now fixed. Ogvar, you can head down and you can visit Otto and Bojo. So you head downstairs.
Can I ask?
Yeah.
Sorry, can I ask Ryan what he's affixing the white orb to?
Which weapon?
Yeah, what's that one going on?
It'd be his battle axe.
On his battle axe.
Yes.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
So what you will find is as soon as you've kind of started attuning these orbs, they will shrink down in size to kind of be almost like a pommel gem. So you aren't obviously lugging around like an orange-sized orb. It will shrink down to fit. So you head down after you finish tuning your weapon. You've now got this white gem embedded into the end of your axe. And Otto and Bojo are downstairs. And you walk in thinking that you're just going to see Bojo and he's going to be, growl at you as usual. And you look at them and Bojo looks at you. Hello.
Ogvar pauses and just go, hello, Bojo. Hello, Otto.
Ogvar. See, I told you it'd be worth it.
Yes, you did say come and have a chat with him, but I wasn't quite expecting it to be a chat.
Did you expect my arm to be up his arse somehow?
Is that what I'm actually seeing, or...?
No.
Now I know what happened to the lamp oil that we found.
That's so nasty.
Sorry, Bojo. That's never happening, mate.
Is this a new thing, or is this something you've been keeping from us?
Well, I think Otto at this point would just sit back, fold his arms, and let Bojo do the talking. For him, it's quite a nice sensation to see his friend, who's obviously grown in this way, now able to communicate properly for himself.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ogvar, you ask this question, and Bojo responds, and he fully responds to you and tells you that this is quite a recent development. It happened after he had a funny dream and saw a lady with beautiful wings in the dream. She kissed his forehead, and he kind of used his paw to indicate this silvery mark of Avacyn, which now sits amidst his fur. Mm-hmm. And you are able to spend some time with both Otto and Bojo and having a very in-depth conversation, actually. Bojo's clearly quite an intelligent bear. He's quite a worldly bear. He knows a lot about nature, about tracking, things that about a bear would know about. And now that he's able to properly communicate them, you discover that although his speech patterns are quite simplistic, certainly not like speaking to a toddler, but maybe it's like talking to a 9 or 10-year-old child. Probably they've got the speech patterns, but sometimes a word is slightly off or slightly mispronounced. But clearly there is the learning capacity there that Bojo will almost certainly be able to learn and grow, and clearly absorb more information. And you're able to spend some time with both of them and actually have a proper three-way conversation.
Nice.
Nice way to spend an afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay. So as the afternoon wears on, obviously you're doing these activities. It's now going to be heading into kind of early evening time. Is there anything specific that you would like to do? Otto, would you like to go and do some more work on the ship? I imagine Alora would have at least generated kind of a couple of plans you could take by this point, but that would be a longer job, obviously.
Yeah, I certainly would want to do that. The other thing that he's got in the back of his mind for when he gets a little bit of time is to hunt around in the library, see if he can identify what these seeds are that he's picked up. But,
yes.
Yeah, the ship's got to be the first priority.
Yeah, and those seeds are the ones from the town, are they?
They are, yeah.
Okay.
We've got 6 pouches of seeds.
Okay, 1 second. Let me just write that down. Yeah, okay. So when you eventually get around to going to the library, you can you are able to identify the seeds quite easily. They are herbal seeds, and they will be... How many did you have? Sorry, I can't remember off the top of my head.
6 pouches.
I've got it right here, 6 pouches of unknown seeds. You'll have your kind of very basic kind of thyme, lavender, rosemary. Just trying to think what else grows out of seed. Brain's not working. Perhaps some more exotic ones. You can see some saffron. And trying to think of 2 more herbs here, which isn't going well. Mint.
Rosemary.
I've already said rosemary.
Oh, sorry.
You can see some mint and
Lemon balm.
there we go, lemon balm.
Perfect.
They're quite basic, but if you were to start growing them, obviously they would add to your supplies and allow Paul to create better dishes.
Yeah, that'll be a long-term thing. We'll definitely have to get a couple of plant pots into Otto's room when there's a chance. Let's focus on actually making sure there's a room there to put a pot into first, though.
Okay, so you can do day 2 of shipbuilding, so you will use up 1 resource point of your wood, and you will use up 3 of your shape wood spells.
Yep.
As kind of standard, and you will be able to continue. I'd say probably because it was the easiest job to tackle at the time, you would be able to. Let me flip page over. How many did I say that would take?
12.
No, that's not what
Was
I'm
it
looking
11?
at. No, I'm not. That's not what I'm looking at.
Sorry.
So, having spent 2 days, probably because this is the easiest thing and you know exactly that you need to get this in, you will now have the berth deck back in place. You won't have
That's
any of
huge.
the cabins built in, but so I initially accounted for 2 resource points to basically get that berth deck in, and that would have been the simplest thing that you know you've got to put that deck back in. So after 2 days, 6 spells and 2 resource points, you now have that deck back in the ship and you can start building things like cabins in there.
Fantastic.
Okay. So that's the rest of your evening, Otto, up until kind of bedtime. Elora, I imagine your activity of drawing up these plans will take a lot longer because they are quite detailed and you need to make sure that obviously everything's in place so that you know where you're allocating your resources. So that will be the rest of your evening, essentially.
Yes.
Okay. Ogvar, is there anything that you would like to be doing?
Yes, I think Ogvar will he'll be available to help Otto if needed. But I think if he gets some time, he's thinking that he's finds all these mushrooms. He's started to there's a lot of mushrooms sort of amassing in Orland.
Yep.
So, and he knows he's got to identify these because he's not quite sure what's what. But he sees a problem with it. He has to keep going and asking for his mushrooms, and he looks to the outside person as if he might have a bit of a problem. So I think he's going to. I think he's going to scour through the book that Portia Bello left him and see if there is like a section on like how to store/transport mushrooms, and if there's something that he could, I don't know, maybe start over the next however long it takes, maybe something he could craft to contain them.
Yeah, okay, so you start looking through the book that Portia gave you, and let me just pull it up so I know what I'm talking about and not chatting utter shite. Yeah, so you start looking through the book and you can see that obviously it's very detailed and in its description and gives you all the effects, and you can also see that there are certain items that can be crafted from mushrooms, and there are also descriptions on how to consume the mushrooms to get the best effect out of them. So a lot of the mushrooms are to be kept fairly fresh or dried. So however you store them, as long as it's kind of in a sort of airtight container, you would say that's probably the best method to store them.
Okay.
In terms of going away and crafting something which you could store these mushrooms in, you think you could probably craft yourself a chest which you could kit out with jars and bits and bobs to store it in. However, make me a wisdom check, please.
Oh dear.
You can have this.
Right.
So I will say you can have this at advantage, so that just roll it twice and take the highest one.
Okay.
I'll be nice.
Ooh. Okay. Highest I rolled was an 18 plus a 1 for a 19.
Excellent, yeah.
Nice.
So with that wisdom check, you do remember seeing a similar copy of your book in Jenrick's workshop. No, it wasn't in the workshop. It was in... Let me find my map. It was in the alchemy lab on floor 5. You distinctly remember, obviously, amidst all of the equipment that Jenrick stores up here, and obviously this is where he spends time using plants and brewing and cultivating herbs of his own. You obviously do remember seeing a copy of Portia's book in here, alongside full alchemy kits. So you think that perhaps this is something you might be able to talk to Jenrick about as well, and Jenrick might have a solution for you. So if you're spending time reading through Portia's book, are you looking to identify some of the mushrooms you've got? Because you can obviously go to Allura and collect all and...
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so if we start off with the 2 most recent mushrooms that you harvested. You harvested... down the alphabet.
Yeah, Allura would have given him Orland to take back up to wherever he's going.
Yeah, you discovered some pale grey mushrooms, 4 of them, which had a glowing silver filigree pattern on them. And from reading the Portia's book, you know that this is known as a radiant shroom, and consumption of the mushroom will imbue you with the benefits of the spell Divine Favour at +1.
Are these out of the book?
Yes, these are all out of the book, so obviously you can go and this on for your reference, page 19. This one.
Yeah. Page 19. Yeah. Okay, it's just easier than writing it down. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, did you
sure.
say that was level 1?
No, at +1.
Oh.
Divine Favour offers +1, +2, +3 depending on level, so...
Okay, fine.
The other mushroom you found most recently, there were 2 of them, were slate grey stone-like mushrooms. They had this rough texture to them, this very stony texture. And you know from your reading that this is a stonefoot morel, featured on page 22 of the book. Licking the mushroom grants the licker the ability to cast a spell stone shape once. Once licked, the mushroom loses its effect.
Cool.
Do you have to shake the stone
you
with your tongue?
Could you replace?
What was that?
Could you repeat that?
Actually, I don't want to know. Licking the mushroom grants the licker the ability to cast the spell stone shape once. Once licked, the mushroom loses its effect.
Cool. I like that.
Could you then plant the mushroom afterwards?
What was that, Otto? Ogvar?
wonder
Rick?
if you-
No, Rick. Fuck.
No, just Rick. I was just curious if you could lick the mushroom, then plant it. Get some use out of it, and then get some more use out of it.
I mean, if you want to eat it afterwards, you can. The only thing the
No,
book says
just
is if you lick
thinking-
it, you can
Just
cast a
thinking that if
spell.
you get more mushrooms, that might also then allow more stone shapes. Just idly thinking, ignore me.
This is the thing, isn't it?
That's a no.
Well, doesn't say no in the book.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Depends if you can find them, doesn't it?
Well,
Anyway.
if only we could.
So, the other mushrooms you found, so there should have been a couple from the cave, star shroom, Gylian mushroom. Those can all be found in the book. So, obviously, any named ones that you've got, you can find them in the book. And I think there were a couple of other unnamed ones that you didn't have to have a description for yet. How many have you got of those? Because what we'll do is we'll do a random roll. Or more accurately, we will.
Okay, there were 7 different types.
7 different varieties, and there was 3 of one, 5 of another, 5 of another, 2 of another, 6 of another, 4 of another, and 5 of another.
Okay, so
That's the number of each. Found.
and they were all found in the cave, weren't they?
That's it, yeah.
Yep. Okay, so we'll start with.
No, they were not. They were not found in the cave. They were found in the biome when we came through to start with.
Absolutely right. Yes, my apologies. You
Sorry.
are completely correct. No, that's fine. It's me for not writing it down. Woo. Okay, so let's start off with mushroom cluster number 1. How many were there in there?
3.
So you find 3. Roll me a. So, Ryan, you're going to roll me a D6, high or low.
Okay, I will go high.
Yeah.
And I'll roll. And I roll a 2.
Okay, so you've rolled a 2, that's a low. So I would then want you to roll me a D20, please.
Okay. I roll an 11.
An 11, excellent. So just to explain what I'm doing, not the fungus, that's not what I was going to say. The biome on the floors below is replicating the environment within forests and plains. So I've got 2 lists here in the front of the book. You've got a roll table for forests and roll table for plains. So what you've just rolled, rolling high or low.
Okay, yeah.
You've rolled low, that's going to be forests in this instance. You've then rolled on the table to pick that mushroom. So what we'll do is we'll get them rolled up and then we'll go through them, yeah?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, second mushroom, how many?
5.
5. Okay, again, Ryan, if you roll that d6, low for forests, high for plains.
I rolled a 1.
Low again, and then roll me a d20.
A 10.
A 10, excellent. Okay, next one.
Another D6.
Yep, how
5.
many? Yep, so that's again low. How many in that cluster, Alora? What's that?
This is the 3rd one, yeah?
Yeah, number 3.
5.
Hold on, I rolled a 5 on a D6.
Oh, 5, okay, that's a high. Yep, okay. So then you can roll me a d20.
That's an 8, please.
And 8, lovely. And cluster number 4. How many?
That was 2. 2 of those.
2 of those. Okay, high or low?
Rolled a 4, so that's
4.
high.
High. Okay, roll d20.
That's an 8.
And 8, you can roll that again.
19.
Ooh, funky. No, you can roll that again.
That's a no, you're not having that.
No, it's not, and you're not having that. It's you've already got one of those.
Oh, right, okay. I've rolled an 11, which I think I've rolled already.
No, that's fine. You rolled that on the other table, so that's fine.
Okay, cool.
Okay, excellent. Cluster number 5. Number?
Cluster number 5 is a 1, 2, 3, 4. Is a 6. 6 of those.
Okay, high or low?
That's low, it's a 2.
2, and then roll me a d20.
That'd be a 4.
4, lovely. Okay. 6th cluster.
4 of those.
4 of those, high or low?
Low, roll a 2.
Yep, and roll a d20.
It's a 10.
10. Roll that again, you've already had that.
Yeah, I thought so. 15.
15. Ooh, funky. Okay. And cluster number 7.
5 of those.
5 of those, high or low?
Oh, sorry. I was zoned out. I was looking at Sam going, what is it?
I was getting that feeling of being watched.
That's a 3, so that's low.
3, that's a low. Okay, and a d20 again, please.
Ooh, a 1.
Ooh, funky. Nice. Okay.
Everything's
funky,
apparently.
It is funky. It's loving it. I'm loving this. Okay, so The first cluster of mushrooms that you inspect is the cluster of 3, and these are... I can't do the alphabet and speak at the same time, that's really bad. I can't read either, apparently. The cluster of 3 mushrooms, which are quite tough to the touch, they feel quite solid. They have a bark-like pattern and a metallic sheen. Page 14 of the book, Iron Bark Fungus. Eating this mushroom grants the user a +2 bonus to AC for 1 hour as their skin hardens like iron.
Ooh, what page was that? Sorry.
And that will...
Yes.
14, and that will obviously not stack
brilliant.
because it's a bonus. Okay, and this is an alchemical bonus, so it will stack on top of your AC bonuses you have. Okay, the next cluster you get are 5 of this one. It's a mushroom with a short stout stem and a wide brimmed cap in shades of violets and blues. And this is, again on page 14, a hushkus. When ingested, the creature becomes incapable of making any sound orally for 10 minutes. So if Alora's ever annoying you, you can just slip one of them into her morning stew, is all I'm going to say. Okay, the next cluster is 5. She just grumbled at me. She just grumbled at me. You have 5 of these mushrooms. They are a vibrant green and shaped like 4-leaf clovers. So they've got these kind of big, kind of almost like a quarter chunk. The cap's almost like split into 4, and it looks like a 4-leaf clover. And consuming this mushroom will grant a character +2 on all charisma-based checks for 1d4 hours.
Nice.
And that is page 8 of the book.
Page 8, cool.
What's that one called?
Okay. A charm stool. Okay. The next mushrooms, you have 2 of these, and they are on page 13. A very plain-looking grey mushroom. And contrary to its bland appearance, as you disturb it, it generates a spray of riotous rainbow colour, which promptly stains your hands. When disturbed, the grey cone, this is what it is, a grey cone, releases its spores in a powerful, colourful gust as the spell Colour Spray. And what is the interesting thing about this one, so it will not use the effect as you kind of discover this about the mushroom, but the interesting thing about this one is you can see that there is a note on the entry stating that this is a component in an alchemical formula called tracking powder. Okay, the next cluster of mushrooms. You have 5 of these. They are on page...
Can I just ask what that one was called?
Grey cone.
Grey cone.
Yep. Okay. The next mushroom is a cluster of 6 that is found on page 5 of the book. Arcane cap. It is a vibrant blue mushroom with glowing concentric circles and patterns that spiral around its stem and domed cap. Consuming this mushroom allows the user to cast Mage Armour once, providing a magical shield that increases their AC for a duration of 10 rounds. This armour bonus stacks as if a miscellaneous modifier. And again, this has a component part, so it is part of a recipe. Okay. The next mushroom that you find comes in a cluster of 4. On page 16, called a Mycotempest. The storm mushroom is a relatively large turquoise mushroom with a domed cap. The fungus flickers with miniature flashes of lightning. When disturbed, the mushroom releases spores in an upward cone that deals 1d6 necrotic damage upon exposure. A small magical lightning storm is formed in a 15-foot radius circle around the mushroom for 1d8 rounds, and all creatures who fail their saving throws take 1d4 lightning damage per round while under the cloud. Consuming the mushroom will grant the character 3 uses of the spell Lightning Bolt, dealing 4d6 points of damage per use at will. Multiple consumptions of the fungus do not stack. So what I will say is you will not have disturbed any spores by kind of looking into this. You've kind of got lucky in that aspect. And the last cluster of mushrooms is a cluster of 5, found on page 5 again. The mushroom has a tall stem with a short but small in circumference conical cap. It's extremely thin and runny amber-coloured sap drips from its gills. This is called all sap. The runny sap can be harvested, and when applied to objects or creatures creates a lubricating film that acts in the same manner as the spell grease, although the area of effect is limited in accordance with the quantity of sap used. When harvested or applied to a creature, the creature must roll a fortitude save or manifest an allergic reaction. Excellent. And there we go.
Nice.
Those are the mushrooms that you have.
Wow.
That's a lot of mushrooms.
Awesome.
It's a lot of
That's
mushrooms.
It's a lot of mushrooms.
Incredible
It's a lot
mushrooms
of
there.
useful stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
Brilliant.
I'm liking that.
By my count, that's about 30 mushrooms you've got there, plus the rest. So you can spend some time looking through this book and figuring out what these mushrooms do. There you go.
Excellent. Yeah, that will take on for a while, I'd imagine.
Yeah. So this is how you spend your evening. And by the time you get your dinner, so Esther will have very kindly made, and Paul probably as well, would have kindly made sure that you've got your dinner, you've got food to eat, and made sure you know they'd have brought it down to you. So Laura, your dinner would be brought down while you're busy writing. Ogvar, wherever you've chosen to settle with your book, your dinner would be brought to you. You have a hearty meal, and by the time it rolls around for bedtime, you've completed your various activities. You've got the drawings for the ship gone up, you've found out the information you need to about the mushrooms, and you've got the berth deck back into the ship, so you've got another deck on the ship. So,
Awesome.
at this point you're going to settle in for the night. Are you settling in the tower or on the ship? It doesn't particularly matter where, just so I know where you are in the morning.
I think Otto again will spend time with with Bojo while he can.
Yep, okay.
I think Alora would stay in the tower because it's pretty late when she finishes her schematics, and I think she's quite tired. It's taken a lot of concentration, and she'd just settle in the tower for the evening, I think. She'd probably go up and help herself to an armchair up in the living quarters.
Yeah, okay. Ogvar? In
Yeah,
tower?
I'd probably stay in the tower. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you settle in for the night and you have a good night's rest. If you're still missing any hit points, you will heal up in accordance to the normal rulings. Above half fully, below half you heal up half. Ogvar, you will again be briefly woken up at midnight. As the day ticks over into a new one, you are woken up with this sharp stabbing pain as you take d6 worth of necrotic damage. So if you roll that for me.
Yeah, that'll be a 3.
Yep, so you take 3 points of necrotic damage as you briefly wake up, almost surfacing out of a nightmare, as you feel the bangle again grow cold on your wrist. Almost feels like your hand is freezing, and by the time you regain sensation, you have the pins and needles in your hand spreading up your arm, as you feel this almost this weakness in your arm, as some of your health, your vitality is sapped by the bangle. And it's
Okay.
this is a pretty quick thing that happens. You almost emerge out of a nightmare. This happens, you sink back down and fall asleep again. It's not going to disturb a long rest. It's just obviously it happens, and this has happened 2 nights in a row now, so you're probably getting the sense that this is going to be an ongoing thing.
Yes.
Yes. And clearly it's not doing any problem. It's not causing any problems right now, but if you were to be very low health in the future, it could cause issues.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are now ticking over into day 4 of your sojourn at the tower. As you wake up in the morning, I will assume that you go about your usual routines, you wash your eye out, you have a decent breakfast. Food is going to be readily available in the tower. It doesn't seem like Jenrick's got a lot of supplies, but clearly he has got quite a bit stored up, or some method of preserving food. So you were able to have a lovely morning meal, tea and coffee all round. Jenrick will join you before you start off on your events for the days. So what are you going to do today?
Trying to remember what was on our list.
Yeah.
I have the list here. So day 4 we had planned to go investigate the underwater tower that we spotted before, while trying to get into Jenrick's tower the first time, which could be a very fun thing.
Yeah. Is it best to ask Jenrick about it?
First, I would probably say it's a very smart move because he'll know something about it, I'm sure. What we don't want to do also is, if I know he's sort of mentioned about us being curious about it before, maybe there's stuff in there that he doesn't want us to go near, or he can warn us ahead of time if there's something he's aware of.
Who wants to go down and speak to Jenrick then about this tower?
Well, I suppose all of us, really.
Yeah.
Do we know where... I think we would probably leave together and go down to see if we could find where Jenrick was. I'm not sure whether he's in the library or...
Yeah, he'll be very easy to find. As you go down the tower, obviously you'll be able to see into the workstations and workrooms, and you can indeed find him in the library. So heading downstairs, you encounter Jenrick in the library. He seems to be... Although he was with you at breakfast perhaps 20 minutes ago, he's already buried deep in the books and the journals. But he's there.
Okay. Maybe we should let our esteemed sorceress lead the chat. She's the one that knows more about these things.
Excuse me, Jenrick? Hello, Jenrick?
Yes, hello. How are you this fine morning?
I'm fine. I think we're all fine, thank you. Before you... We obviously want to leave you to get on with your things, but we just needed to ask you. When we first arrived at the tower and we came in underneath the tower...
Yes.
We noticed that there was... We could see... I don't know whether it was a reflection, but there seemed to be a tower, a white tower, underneath the lake, where the derelict galleon is. We saw it at an angle. Didn't see it to start with, but we saw it second time we went through.
It shouldn't be white. It should probably be metallic, I think, if I'm remembering correctly.
It might have just been the angle I was standing at, but yeah. What is it?
Yes.
If you don't mind me asking.
It's but effectively tank decoration. You see, I, as you well know, I was keeping a dragon eel down there, and as you are wont to do with...
Yeah, sorry about that.
It is what it is. As you do with, obviously, you keep your fish in a tank, and you put enrichment in there for them. So obviously there was a bit of a boat and a little tower for him to explore and have a bit of variation in his environment. So that's why it was down there essentially. No specific reasoning other than to be tank decoration per se. But it is
castle. Ooh, castle. Ooh, a castle.
Well, I wouldn't.
A paladin. Yum.
Well, I I wouldn't call it a castle, more of a fortress, I'd say. But it was a prototype for this place, essentially.
So there's nothing actually in it?
No. Well, no, there's nothing in it. It's a fortress. It was a prototype for this place. It was something I created in my much younger days before I was able to create this place, this tower. It was small. It only had 2 floors, and I needed the extra room, so it got relegated to the basement, I'm afraid.
I see. Okay. Yeah, sorry, we were thinking it might be something that we might need to investigate, but if it's just tank decoration, I guess that answers that question.
Well, it's a bit more than tank decoration. I mean, you're welcome to take it with you if you want.
What do you mean, take it with me?
Well, it's a fortress of the instant variety.
Ah.
You know, it collapses down
I'm sorry,
a bit.
what? How small does it get?
Well, it gets... And he holds his hand up, and it's like... He kind of indicates almost like a chess piece size. It's small. It was a prototype, and it served me well for a good few years before, obviously, I upgraded a bit.
Wow.
I think Alora's jaw will be hanging on the floor around about now. And does it... How... And you don't want it anymore?
Well, I don't need it. I've got 8 floors in here. You know, it's a little version. It's got 2 floors.
How would you like to do a bit of a swap for something? We can't keep taking your generosity, but what we can do is we can swap something out. I noticed there was something on the ship when we first defeated the wizard, Vero, which I'm assuming is a name that you're not familiar with.
No, it's not one that I'm... No.
Don't worry, we'll fill you in on that later. But anyhow, I'm sure the others wouldn't mind if there was a big, heavy stone horse, magical thing on there. Would you be interested in swapping? Exchange. How about an exchange? We could have your fortress, but would you have use of a large horse? Maybe.
Well, I suppose...
I'm not quite sure what it does.
Well, I suppose... If it's what I think it is, then it won't need feeding, which would be more economical. Well, I have no use for it. It's just cluttering up the place, which is why I put it down there, to be honest with you. So, I mean, if you want to go and retrieve it, then it's yours. I'll happily take the stone horse in exchange.
Well, that sounds perfect. She looks briefly round at the others and raises her eyebrows.
Ogvar just nods.
Sounds
But
amazing.
Is there... How do we get it? How do we get the fortress out of the water?
But what you'll have to do is you'll have to swim down, and you'll have to speak the command word. Which is... and you see him kind of almost visually shuffle through the memory banks as he's thinking very, very hard. Blather, what was the command word? As he's just kind of thinking and thinking and thinking. Oh, codswallop, I can't... No, codswallop. There we go, that's the command word, codswallop.
And you're certain about that, are you?
As certain as I can be. Codswallop.
Okay, that's fine. We'll just leave you to your day.
Perhaps just to make sure there's nothing else that could have moved into the tower. I mean,
I shouldn't hope so. It was a fairly... it was, with all intents and purposes, a natural fish tank. And it should have only been the old dragon eel in there, which, on reflection, might be why he was so grumpy. Maybe he was lacking enrichment. Oh dear.
well, you know better for the next time you get one, I guess.
Yes, indeed.
Right, well, we won't keep you from your day's work. Thank you for that, and we'll sort out the exchange later, if that's okay.
Oh, yes, of course, no worries. It's not like I'm going
Brilliant.
anywhere. I haven't moved this place in quite a while.
Alora pauses.
Nope.
Moved?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
No. Yeah. Yeah. We'll be going, and we won't bother you. Perhaps see you at tea time, maybe.
Yes, of course.
Thank you, Jenrick. Much appreciated. Alora is going to draw a breath. Her eyes are quite bulging by this stage with overload, and she's going to walk out and convene at the next set of stairs or something, at the top of the stairs above the library.
Okay. So, you leave, exit the library. What are you doing? Are you going down to the basement? Are you having a discussion? What are you doing?
Actually, yes, I think she would have gone downstairs rather than upstairs. Yeah, I think she was quite confused. She'd have got halfway up the stairs and then thought, come back to her senses, and then started walking back to her companions and walking down to the basement floor.
Okay, yeah, so you walk down to the basement where you see Bojo in the bottom. He's like, sup?
I think Alora would snap her head round and go like, what? Bojo?
Rah.
She's going to shake her head like, ooh, this has been most confusing. The last 5 minutes have blown her head a bit. And she's
As you walk away, you
she's
hear
going
a bye.
She's going to stop, stiffen her back, and then just shake her head again and continue walking forwards towards the door at the far end that they would have come in through originally when they came in from the cavern corridor.
Yeah, you head back through that door. You head... And it seems almost like a lifetime ago that you first came through that door. In reality, it's only been about 5 or 6 days, maybe a week.
It feels like longer
since you came through that door. And obviously, the last time you came through that door, you had Kewin with you. And this time, you don't have Kewin.
No. No. Yeah, she tries to push that thought from her mind.
You walk through the door. You pass through the passageway, descending down towards water level. And then again you see these two paths which diverge across this big expanse of a lake. You can see the ship, half the ship sticking out of the other end of the water, and you are able to make your way round to what you assume to be the closest point to this fortress in the middle of the this it's a lake, and the surface is still crusted over with plants. It's still quite thick with growth at this point. And what are you doing?
Well, there is an easier way to do this, unless you fancy holding your breath a lot.
I can do it. If nobody else can, I can do it.
Are you suggesting you may have a a certain set of skills that may be suitable for the task, Otto?
I can swim and I can talk underwater. That might be a thing. I can even breathe underwater, which might make going down to the bottom quite easy. And more importantly, I might even be able to grab hold of it while I'm underwater. But I'm quite happy to sit back and watch you try first, if you'd like. That could be quite funny.
I can. Hang on a minute. I just need to check something. Sorry, bear with me.
No, he's in the stables.
Beat me to it. Well done, yes.
Thank you. I'll take my Oscar now.
I'm trying to find it. I can actually
His name's Bojo.
breathe. I'm sure I can breathe underwater.
Can I suggest that finding out the hard way that you can't is a really bad moment?
No, I'm just looking at this. I should be able to breathe underwater. I'm just trying to find it on my sheet now, and I can't find it.
Okay, so what we're going to do is bear in mind we've got 8 minutes till 9. I'm going to leave you with that conundrum.
Yeah, I need to look. I need to
Okay,
look through
sounds
my
good.
sheets. The magical orbs turned out to be most useful. The positive force property of the White One was promptly affixed upon Ogvar's axe as he attuned with it for future use. With the day done, evening time saw each of our companions crack on with their important tasks, and as morning broke, they engaged Jenrick in what became the enlightening topic of a certain subterranean and sunken tower. Well, that's it for this week, folks. Don't forget to catch up with the action in next week's episode 163. Hey, you made it this far, so lend us your ears for a moment longer if you will. Firstly, we are most humbled that you are enjoying our yarn, and the crew thank you from the bottom of their hearts for your patronage. Producing this podcast is incredibly hard work, and as such, if you would like to support us, there are a few ways in which you could really make a difference. Sharing links to friends and family helps to spread the word so others like you can find us, and in turn they too can enjoy the show. Equally helpful is leaving a 5-star review on Spotify and any other streaming services, which will help us immensely. Or, if you feel you could go that extra mile and contribute a few coppers to keep our creative juices flowing, you can hop on over to our Buy Me a Coffee page or drop us an email. We would all be immensely grateful for your support in any form. Lastly, we invite you to visit our website, where you will find information on our campaign from backstories to settings. Join our Facebook group or follow us on Twitter. All the links are in our episode bios. Don't forget to smash the subscribe and download buttons so you never miss the next episode. See you all again next week, folks.